This light always was on until it started. This one never was. The only lights that we can see that come on is back here. It'll say DC power synchronized, which start to come on. Let me see if I can zoom in. I think those are the only lights that come on that we're noticing when you try to hit it. No other lights. So we're hearing that relay over there flicker, you know, when you turn it off and on the switch. That's it. I think I put pictures of these on there, but I'll scroll down so anybody that wants to see or all of the numbers. I've jumped this. This is I've ordered a oil pressure switch for this engine. Of course, it just came a normal oil pressure switch, not this contraption here. So I don't know, but when I jump this with alligator clips, the oil pressure gauge, then I get nothing over here when I actually go to start it. At least this looks like it's building oil pressure and trying to do what it's supposed to do. I have these two batteries here. I've pulled the plug for the fuel relay. I hit it with alligator clips. You can hear the solenoid working, or the fuel solenoid shut off. And then I put wires going from this side, and when we start it, you can see it's giving 24 volts out, so it would be powering the relay. This thing looks like it goes into the fuel system. I don't see any wires coming off of it. Here's the primer ball for the fuel system. I don't know if that's the main pump, auxiliary pump, I really don't know. I think the little electrical connections right there is just the fuel, how much fuel's in it. You know, it's got an auxiliary fuel inlet, auxiliary fuel return. I've tried turning the auxiliary fuel gauge over here. Off, auxiliary fuel pump on. I've tried doing that. I'm having no luck. I have not tried the cold start. Maybe I should try that. My batteries died quick. So The only other gauges I got these, which clearly are probably for the coolant. I don't know if there's one of them's a coolant pressure and a coolant temp. I'm thinking. So, I've had to replace that thermostat before. I have this thing there. I have no idea what that is. It's right behind the alternator. It has 3 plugs in it. I originally was taking that out and trying to alligator clip those to see if it got rid of this fault. I really don't know, but other than that right there, I'm assuming these are all for water pressure and temperature. Don't really know what that is. If anybody would like to help. Starter, I don't see anything else going into the engine. I don't know what would be preventing it from starting. Seems like it's taken one hell of a load to start it. You know, I brought these 2 batteries over here to jump it. I only got 2 or 3 times and then they're drained, so I had to get my big army truck to hook up. But I don't know at this point. You know, I don't know what this little tiny sensor is here, but I don't really think it's on the engine. That looks like it's more some sort of RPM gauge for yeah, the generator. No. So at this point I am stumped. I do not know why. This thing was working good. I've been using it almost, let's say, daily, you know, every few days. It's been hot, so I've been over there living in the tent, had to have this running. It's working great. Walk out, start it, no problems. Run the AC for 4 or 5 hours. I mean, nothing, no problems. Gauge is perfect. I decided, since we're working on this cabin, it was getting too hot to come in here and try to put in the insulation. It was too hot with the sun out. So I'll move my AC over here and fired it up like normal. Started working. Maybe 10 minutes, all of a sudden you just seen some black smoke come out of the thing and brr, shut right down. Then we've had the gen fault light and this. And I actually had the gen fault light to stay off when the power was on. You know, there hasn't been any power connected to it for a week. You know, I had to charge these batteries and we got doing other projects. Then I came back and tried starting it, a nice big long start, and then I could leave it on run. It wasn't starting though. Spraying a little ether, took off the air filter and everything, spraying a little ether up in there, seeing if I could at least get it to start. I had some a mechanic tell me, is like, hey, if you got pressure and fuel, you know, and air, it should run. It's a diesel. So he said just spray a little ether and surprisingly WD-40. Said up in there, and haven't hit the WD-40 because I haven't even had it start the fire yet. But nothing. It's just, you know, clearly compression I would assume is there because of how much load it's taken on these batteries to turn this thing over. It's building pressure on the pressure gauge. The voltage gauge looking good. I've put fuel in it. I've made sure the oil is topped off, you know, where it should be. Anybody that can help me with this at this point, I'd greatly appreciate it. I've even went as far as calling Hanco. Hanco went out of business and sold their licenses to somebody else. I called them. They said, oh, well, we don't really deal with that. We don't know about Hanco. We just know about generators. So I can't even, the people that made this for the government closed their doors. So, you know, there's probably 4 or 5 different companies that make these Drash units. These AC generator trailer units are called Drashes. And but so the company that made it went out of business. You can't even tell me how to help. If anybody has any suggestions or ideas, I'm all for it. I'd appreciate it.